Good morning, everyone. If you could all please take your seats. Turn off your cell phones if you don't mind. Good morning and welcome to the East Valley Breakfast with the Governor, our 21st annual. And at this time, I want to ask you all to, I just told you to take a seat. Now, if you don't mind standing, and let's give a big East Valley welcome to the 24th Governor of Arizona, Katie Hobbs. Welcome, Governor Hobbs. Welcome, everyone, to the 21st Annual East Valley Breakfast with the Governor. We had an overwhelming response for this year's event, and we are grateful for your investment to be with us this morning. To begin this morning, I want you to stand again. No one has to go work out after this. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is it. Okay. Hello, my name is Tom Dorn. I'm founder of Dorn Policy Group, and we've had the privilege of representing the East Valley Chambers of Commerce Alliance down at the state capitol since its inception in 1999. We've been advocating for the East Valley Chamber of Commerce interests through representation of the Alliance. The Alliance is often referred to as EVCCA, and it's comprised of more than 5,000 business members from 7 chambers of the East Valley. Please allow me to call on each of the CEOs to stand and be recognized. Apache Junction Area Chamber of Commerce, led by Marianne Shablisky. Carefree Cave Creek Chamber of Commerce, led in the interim by Eric Tui. Gilbert Chamber of Commerce, Sarah Watts. And a special shout out to Sarah as the administrator of the Alliance this year, who organized this event and has done a tremendous job. Mesa Chamber of Commerce, led by Sally Harrison. The Queen Creek Chamber of Commerce, led by Chris Clark. Scottsdale Area Chamber of Commerce, led by Mark Stanton. And Tempe Chamber of Commerce, led by Colin Diaz. Also joining us this morning is Phoenix East Valley Partnership, led by John Lewis. I can tell you these organizations work tirelessly to stay on top of the issues and legislation impacting the region's business environment. And I'm honored to work alongside these leaders with our team. Now it's my honor to introduce you to the current chairman of the East Valley Chambers of Commerce Alliance and chair of the board of directors on behalf of the Gilbert Chamber of Commerce, Jan Simon.
Well, good morning. Quite the crowd we have this morning. I appreciate you all being here, taking time out this morning to welcome our new governor and hear some amazing words that she will share with us. But first, it's such an honor to be here this morning representing Gilbert Chamber of Commerce and the East Valley Chambers of Commerce Alliance. We have so many dignitaries in the room. If I went through every single one of you, we might be here all day, so I would like to highlight some of those that are here. If you would please stand and be recognized as I call you. City of Mesa Mayor John Giles. City of Globe Mayor Al Gameros. City of Chandler Mayor Kevin Hartke. The Town of Gilbert Mayor Bridget Peterson. Town of Queen Creek Mayor Julia Wheatley. And City of Apache Junction Mayor Chip Wilson. Thank you. We obviously have many, many more honored guests, and we are very honored to have you all here with us. If you are an elected official joining us today, would you please stand and be recognized? Many of you serving with our state legislator, county supervisors, cities, towns, council members, and even school board members are here this morning, so we really appreciate you again taking your time out today to be here with us. In the East Valley, we know that a strong business climate and strong education system go hand in hand. I'm so pleased to see many of our East Valley school leaders joining us this morning. Can you please, our school superintendents, please stand and be recognized this morning? And as we all know, events like this cannot be pulled together simply, and we appreciate all the hard work that Sarah Watts with the Gilbert Chamber and her team have done this morning to pull this together. But it is not possible without sponsors. So I'd like to recognize those sponsors. If you could please stand. Please hold your applause to the end while I read through this quickly. We have APS, ASU Research Park, Brookfield Residential, City of Mesa, Dorn Policy Group, East Valley Institute of Technology, East Valley Partnership, HDR Engineering, IAFF Local 2260 Firefighters, Maricopa Community Colleges, Mesa Community Colleges, still going, Modern Moments, SRP, and the Town of Gilbert. Would you all please stand and be recognized? We appreciate all of your sponsorship and donations provided. I'm going to give a quick shout out, and I probably shouldn't do this, but I'll take the liberty that Modern Moments provided the beautiful centerpieces on the tables this morning, so thank you, Modern Moments, for those donations. Beautiful. All right, this morning we're pleased to welcome the very first time Governor Katie Hobbs as she delivers her State of the State address and takes a few questions from the audience. Katie was born and raised right here in the Grand Canyon State, and Katie has dedicated her life to listen to her community and helping solve difficult challenges for the people of Arizona. Katie has learned the value of service from her parents and from her faith. As a kid who volunteered at church, she has spent her entire life serving and has never stopped. She put herself through college at Northern Arizona University and graduated school at Arizona State University with a combination of work study and scholarships, and then immediately started as a social worker, lost my place there, as a social worker helping Arizonans. Her first job out of college was working with youth experiencing homelessness in Phoenix. And then she helped run one of the largest domestic abuse shelters in the country. In the legislature, she worked with both parties to expand health care to over 500,000 Arizonans. She worked across the aisle to find new ways to tackle the growing opioid epidemic here in Arizona, and she worked with the Republican governor to clear the state's rape kit backlog and put sexual assault offenders in jail. When Katie became Secretary of State in 2018, she had more tough challenges to tackle. She promised to bring trust and accountability to the office, and she did. Katie worked to modernize the office, fix broken systems, battled misinformation, and navigated the pandemic. Katie knows firsthand the government only works well as it's led well, if it's led well, excuse me. For Katie, that means transparency and accountability. It means focusing on our common needs, not for the small differences that divide us. It means bringing people together to serve our state, not tearing us apart for political gain. And it means creating opportunity for all, regardless of zip code, gender, race, or ability. Please help me welcome our 24th governor of the great state of Arizona, Ms. Katie Hobbs.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much to the East Valley Chambers of Commerce Alliance for hosting us here this morning. I've been to this breakfast many times in previous capacities, and it's great to be on this side of the podium for this event, so thank you so much. Honored guests, thank you so much for inviting me to share our vision for an Arizona for everyone. We are all here because we care deeply about Arizona, its natural beauty, its abundant opportunities, and most of all, its resilient, diverse, and incredible people. It's a profound honor to represent our fellow Arizonans. As governor, I recognize the obligation to listen, to find common ground, and to craft real solutions for the challenges facing the state. I begin this State of the State by repeating something from my inaugural address last week. For those who are ready to make real progress on the issues that matter most to the people of this state, my door will always be open. However, chasing conspiracy theories, pushing agendas for special interests, attacking the rights of other Arizonans, or seeking to further undermine our democracy will lead nowhere. On Monday, I extended an invitation to the legislature to work together to make a significant impact in the lives of the families and communities of this state by working with me and my administration to lower costs, invest in public education, secure our water future, tackle the affordable housing crisis, and other real issues that are holding back too many Arizonans. The people of Arizona have directed us to find solutions to these issues, and that's exactly what my administration will be focused on for the next 4 years. As a social worker, I learned the power of prosperity. When families are doing well, so many other things start going the same way. I also learned that the easiest way to change someone's life is to offer them the opportunity for a new or better job. So to Arizona's business community, I want you to know that I profoundly believe in the power of prosperity and that I am committed to partnering with each of you to build on the thriving, dynamic foundation we have in this state, where businesses and the people who make them run succeed together. To Arizona's educators, parents, and students, you know better than anyone that education must be the top issue we tackle. As we work to find solutions, I will always seek and listen to your guidance. To Arizona's tribal governments and nations, your voices will be heard in my administration. Your sovereignty will be respected, and your contributions will be recognized as we move into the future. To all of Arizona's diverse, vibrant, and strong communities, from Page to Patagonia, you have built our state into the incredible place it is today. As we go forward into the future, it will take all of us, to maintain our strength, fix our deficiencies, and blaze new trails for the generations that follow. We start this new chapter in a unique position. The state of our state offers promise, and we must act on it. Growing, cutting-edge companies are moving here to tap into our state's top-tier workforce and healthy business environment. However, too many of our rural communities are being left behind because they don't have the infrastructure they need, like high-speed internet. Companies have record job openings, but far too many Arizona residents can't afford rapidly increasing rents or have been priced out of buying a home. We have some of the best K-12 schools in the country, but the state has long failed to live up to its obligation to adequately invest fairly in public education in every community. And we see the results of that with high teacher vacancy rates and some districts with crumbling infrastructure. Arizona has stunning landscapes and unrivaled natural beauty. However, we must do more to protect our forests and watersheds from the devastating effects of fire and drought. Our state has a dedicated public sector workforce, but we can do better in reflecting the diversity of our state to better serve our communities. Those who work in public service should feel empowered, and it is our responsibility to ensure barriers to accessibility and opportunities for all are broken down. As we look to the future, we cannot continue to kick the can down the road on these issues and many others. We owe it to our fellow Arizonans, both this generation and the next, to face these challenges head on. As I said in my inaugural address, I'm an optimist, especially when it comes to Arizona. I believe we are the greatest state in this nation. I believe in our educators and our students. I believe in the men and women who protect our public safety every day. I believe in our innovators, risk takers, and entrepreneurs. I believe in our public servants. I believe in the future of our incredible state, and I know you do too. In the late Governor Rose Mofford's 1989 State of the State address, she spoke about difficult choices as she challenged the legislature to do the right thing, funding elementary and high school education, supporting our state's healthcare system access, and other critical challenges of her time. No one should be surprised that Governor Mofford fought for the right thing and chose not to back down from those challenges. She had a deep understanding of what the people of Arizona wanted and what they needed. As a Democratic governor working with Republican lawmakers, she knew when to find bipartisan compromise and when to stand firm in her beliefs. As we begin to write this new chapter for our state, the state we all love, I ask that we all take inspiration from Governor Mofford's actions and look toward the future, to the partnerships we will forge, to the challenges we will overcome together, to the good we will do for our fellow Arizonans. My hope is that when you leave here today, you understand that I and my administration are committed to action and to improving the lives of every Arizonan. And if you're committed to those same ideals, then I'm ready to work side by side with you, no matter your party registration. And with that, here are my priorities as we build a resilient, innovative, and prosperous Arizona for everyone. Education gave me a chance to climb my way up and build a better life. And I know that's true for countless other Arizonans and for many here in this room today. That's why I've spent so much of my public life fighting for better schools and to level the playing field, and that's exactly what I'll continue to do as governor. However, before we talk about steps we will take to improve K-12 education going forward, we must first address the potential catastrophe that will happen in just a few months if the legislature doesn't act to address the archaic funding cap, officially known as the aggregate expenditure limit, by March 1st. As part of last year's budget negotiations, a promise was made that a special session would be called to override this limit that's based on an out-of-date, 40-year-old funding formula that's holding our public schools hostage. That promise was not kept, and we must make this right. If we don't, this ticking time bomb will explode and will force a $1.3 billion cut that would be one of the largest in our state's history. and it will happen in the last 2 months of the school year. Superintendents and education leaders are warning that this will cause furloughs, layoffs, and possibly even school closures. It is unnecessary to allow these hysterics to go on any longer. Let's give our students, our teachers, and our parents the assurance that schools will remain open. The solution is simple, and it doesn't cost another penny to do the right thing. Representative David Cook has already introduced a resolution to override this outdated limit. The legislature should bring it to the floor. The Democrats in both chambers stand ready to act on this immediately. Looking beyond this pressing issue, Arizonans have made it clear that it's time to rebuild and reinvest in our public schools. For years, our leaders have chosen to ignore parents, teachers, and students who know we can have the greatest public education system in the nation, but instead are too often saddled with crumbling infrastructure and crowded classrooms. And rather than doing the right thing and facing these challenges head on, the previous legislature passed a massive expansion of school vouchers that lacks accountability and will very likely bankrupt our state. In fact, this funding expansion is poised to cost Arizona taxpayers an estimated $1.5 billion over the next 10 years if left unaddressed. That's why when my budget is delivered on Friday, you'll see that it truly invests in public schools and students, ensuring that we are a prepared Arizona. We'll begin with our public school teachers who continue to be caught in the middle of crises of our own making. And for thousands of them, it's just too much. 1 in 4 teachers leave Arizona schools each year, which is the highest rate in the nation. As a result, more than 2,500 classroom educator positions are vacant. As the sister of 2 public school teachers, I see how hard they work every day on behalf of their students. So to the teachers and education support professionals of our state, I see you, I respect you, and I will always stand up for you. I hope we can all agree that when we keep the most talented teachers in the classroom, our kids win, our families win, and our communities win. That's why I'll be launching an educator retention task force to develop a thorough framework and make recommendations to improve class sizes, resources, working conditions, and other factors that will put us on a path to fix these issues and retain educators. The reality is that we don't have an educator shortage. What we have is a retention crisis. There are too many amazing professionals who have walked away from the career they love because of the non-competitive salaries, onerous policies, and unfunded mandates this state has chosen to implement that rob educators of the joy of teaching. Teachers are creating the workforce of tomorrow, and it's time we started treating them with the respect they deserve. For the last 5 years, Arizona has been involved in a lawsuit about school facilities funding. Last week, with support from Attorney General Mays, my office led the successful effort to put the brakes on a costly and wasteful trial, which was scheduled to start on Monday, so we can focus on solving problems instead of needlessly paying lawyers millions to fight in court. With the release of my budget on Friday, you will see historic investment in schools to address capital needs, and my office will keep working to ensure that Arizona's children and teachers can learn and work in safe and secure school buildings. Another step we'll take to help all communities to have the strong, effective public schools they deserve is to ensure we are funding all schools fairly. Currently, Our state government distributes additional per-pupil funding based on school letter grades and assessment results. However, this approach has largely benefited only schools in high-wealth areas of Arizona's two largest counties, Maricopa and Pima, while leaving rural and economically struggling areas behind. To address this inequity, my budget redirects the $68.6 million for that program to the base support level, which goes to all schools across our state instead. Let me go on the record to say that any school that accepts taxpayer dollars should have to abide by the same accountability standards that all district schools do. We have seen too many examples of individuals and shady corporations taking advantage of the system and our students. Let's work together to require that any school that accepts public dollars also participates in the Auditor General's annual school district spending report, as well as take other steps to ensure our taxpayer dollars are going where they should and being spent properly. Beyond this work to ensure transparency for how taxpayer funds are spent, there are other direct actions to support our schools and students. We need to prioritize hiring social workers and counselors to address the mental health crisis among children and teens. Currently, each counselor in an Arizona school provides services for more than 700 kids on average. That's the highest ratio in the nation and nearly 3 times the recommended standard. That's unacceptable, and we must do better. I strongly urge the legislature to continue bringing solutions to my desk to ensure our public schools in all communities have the resources they need to help our kids succeed. Let us now turn our attention to opportunities for our state's next generation after they graduate high school, where my administration will work to help create access to a wide range of education opportunities as they embark on the next chapter of their lives. That means investing in community colleges. Particularly in rural Arizona, as well as dual enrollment programs statewide, so that no matter where a young adult lives, they have the opportunity to earn college credit or get a good paying job. For tens of thousands of other students, choosing to pursue a 4-year degree from one of our state's major public universities is the right path. And make no mistake, we have 3 of the finest colleges in the country right here: Arizona State University, Northern Arizona University, and the University of Arizona all produce workforce-ready graduates, attract millions of dollars in investments, and push the boundaries of knowledge and innovation. They are incredible resources for our state's residents and for the entire nation, and we must continue to improve access to these institutions of higher learning. That's why we're expanding the Arizona Promise Scholarship Program, which last year made college more affordable for over 4,000 families, by including capacity for an additional 10,000 students who will now have an opportunity to pursue a college degree, but otherwise would have been held back by the associated costs. But we're not stopping there. In line with the will of Arizona's voters in passing Proposition 308 this past November, my budget allocates $40 million to create the Promise for Dreamers Scholarship Program to cover all students, regardless of immigration status, who attend a state university. My administration is ready and willing to work with any member of the legislature to find additional solutions. We need to work together to ensure that Arizona's higher education opportunities are the best in the nation and put individuals on the path to future prosperity. As we all know, we have so many reasons to be proud of Arizona. Companies are growing here, and as a result, the job market is robust. What's more, we have enormous potential on the horizon. However, we must also acknowledge the flip side of this prosperity, that too many Arizona families are getting further away from achieving the American dream due to the high cost of housing. Our state is no stranger to the boom and bust housing cycles, but this is something wholly different. 3 Arizona cities, Tucson, Mesa, and Phoenix, have seen some of the highest rent increases in the nation. The number of individuals experiencing homelessness has risen significantly in recent years. We can do better. Let's work together to ensure that here in Arizona, any person who wants to achieve the American dream or have a safe roof over their head can do so. My administration's first step will be to support a $150 million investment into the Housing Trust Fund this year, and I'll call for additional support in the years ahead. In addition to these measures, last week I signed an executive order reestablishing the Interagency and Community Council on Homelessness and Housing. This council will help coordinate and foster collaboration among state and local agencies, the private sector, and nonprofits to help identify solutions for individuals and families experiencing homelessness or struggling with housing affordability. Beyond housing, our efforts to support individuals and families must also address the rising costs of everyday items and services. Even as our state continues to be an incredible place to live and work, we can do more to help our fellow Arizonans get ahead. That's why my budget sets aside $50 million for a state-level child tax credit for families earning less than $40,000 a year to help pay for the rising costs of basic necessities for their children. We'll also help lower costs for Arizona families by exempting diapers and feminine hygiene products from our state's sales tax. These everyday items add up, and we can and should help provide this relief to individuals and families who too often must choose between paying their bills or paying for the things they need to be healthy. But this should only be the start. Again, my administration is ready and willing to work with members of the legislature, and my door will always be open to anyone who brings forward a serious proposal to help Arizona families, seniors, and communities. We need to work together to find ways to lower costs and help every community across our great state thrive economically. Every community across our state also deserves to be safe. Building an Arizona for everyone means building a safe Arizona for everyone. This obligation extends to our border, our broken immigration system, and the communities across the state who must continue to bear the brunt of Washington's decades of failure on this critical issue. Unfortunately, immigration has been politicized for far too long. Arizona voters told us in November they don't want or need political stunts designed solely to garner sensationalist TV coverage and generate social media posts. Speak to leaders in border communities and across our state, and it's clear they need real solutions after decades of failed leadership by both parties. We must take a holistic, realistic, and humane approach to help solve this issue. That means supporting sheriffs and local law enforcement in impacted communities, and it also means supporting community centers and hospitals. I'm encouraged by the White House's recent actions to finally visit the border and to start proposing real steps to begin addressing the problems of the current system. And while optimistic, I will also continue to push Congress to do its job and pass comprehensive immigration reform. Visit border communities and speak with local leaders and law enforcement like I and many others have done, and you'll come away with a broader understanding of the complexities of this issue and the urgent need to institute solutions. That's why I've invited Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas to visit the border with me and meet with community leaders, sheriffs, nonprofit representatives, and business executives in impacted communities who all want effective and humane solutions to this long-time challenge. I look forward to working with local law enforcement, nonprofits, and community leaders throughout my time in office to identify real solutions, hold the federal government accountable, and create a safe Arizona for all its residents. Now, ensuring a strong, safe future for Arizona means defending the freedoms of all its residents. I refuse to stand by and do nothing as my daughter, or anyone's daughter, now has fewer rights today than I did growing up. An overwhelming majority of Arizonans, more than 90% in fact, believe that abortion should be legal. It is time we all heed the message of the people of this state and meet this moment to ensure that we can always make our own healthcare decisions. My administration will always protect reproductive freedom for all Arizonans. I will not support, and I will use every power of the governor's office to stop any legislation or action that attacks, strips, or delays the liberty or inherent right of any individual to decide what's best for themselves or their families. My budget will also match the federal Title X money our state receives to provide reproductive health services and family planning medication, bringing our total to more than $12 million. This step will increase the program's impact here in Arizona and for significantly more low-income women. However, this should only be a start. I urge members of the legislature to put bills on my desk that will protect women, support families, and create a future for Arizona where anyone, regardless of gender, can succeed. Finally, none of the solutions, or even the future I've spoken about today, will be possible without our state's most precious resource, water. We must talk about the challenge of our time. Arizona's decades-long drought, overusage of the Colorado River, and the combined ramifications on our water supply, our forests, and our communities. We are in a critical moment where we must be unified, where we must form new and stronger partnerships, and where we must find bipartisan solutions at a local, statewide, and national level. This issue doesn't stop at state or international borders. We will all thrive together in the future, or we will all be left with the catastrophic results of our failures. From the work our current Senators Sinema and Kelly are leading, to the accomplishments of former Senator John Kyle and former Governor Bruce Babbitt, to decades of efforts by Arizonans before them, our state's leaders are at their best when they reach across the aisle for pragmatic solutions on this issue of water. We should follow in their footsteps as we collectively face a drought unlike anything in modern times. On January 1st, the Colorado River Tier 2 mandatory water cuts went into effect, meaning Arizona will lose 21% of our water that comes from the most important river in the country. This equates to reducing our usage by 592,000 acre-feet just this year. We must also all understand this. Barring a miracle from nature, it will likely get worse before it gets better. This should absolutely be a wake-up call for all of us, because it will take all of us to solve it. Legislators, public officials, the business community, each and every one of us must commit to the partnerships needed to avoid this. The foundation of those partnerships must be rooted in honesty and transparency about the facts and what we are collectively facing. And for that reason, my administration has published a previously unreleased report by the Arizona Department of Water Resources that shows that portions of Phoenix's far west valley are currently short of the 100-year Assured Water Supply Program by 15% today. This report unequivocally shows that we have to act now, or this will only be the first new area that faces this kind of shortage. I don't understand and don't in any way agree with my predecessor choosing to keep this report from the public. However, my decision to release this report signals how I plan to tackle our water issues openly and directly. Experts here in Arizona and across the nation agree there is no silver bullet solution to our current water challenges. We must evaluate and invest in both short and long-term efforts that will help us achieve our goals. This reality drives the three components of my plan for a resilient Arizona. First, my administration has heard loud and clear that reestablishing the Governor's Office of Energy is a priority for communities across the state. In response, we will relaunch this entity as the Governor's Office of Resiliency, which will focus on water, energy, and land use solutions. This office will help coordinate efforts with many departments, tribal governments, universities, organizations, and others involved in this effort. Arizona needs partnerships on a local, state, regional, and national level, and I intend to put us in the best position to do so. Next, my administration has issued an executive order to launch the Governor's Water Policy Council to modernize and expand the Groundwater Management Act. Facing our current reality, it's time to update the groundwater management tools and protect groundwater supplies, particularly in rural communities. We must take these actions today because in many parts of our state, there are effectively no restrictions on groundwater pumping, and local communities have little to no support to manage water supplies. As a result, a new water user can move in, dig a well, and pump as much water as possible, even if it dries up the community's aquifer. This is why you see a Saudi Arabian conglomerate pumping local groundwater nearly unchecked in La Paz County today to grow water-intensive crops and send them to the other side of the planet. We all know that's not right. Our groundwater should be used to support Arizonans, not foreign business interests. Let's close this water poaching loophole and work together to modernize the Groundwater Management Act. In addition to this action, my budget allocates funds to help rural communities set up active management areas. All cities and towns in our state need to proactively manage our groundwater, and by funding this program, we're providing a powerful tool to ensure we strike a balance between usage and recharging our water table. With the help of the legislature, we must bring forward innovative solutions to this challenge of our time. We cannot let the same old partisan fights drag us down. My administration is ready and willing to work together, and we will always do what's best for Arizona and its people. It is my belief that we all understand the gravity of the challenges before us, and it is my hope that we will use this opportunity to once again prove to the people of our state, the nation, and around the world Arizona's visionary leadership when it comes to ensuring a stable water supply for the millions of people who call this place home. These challenges will not be easy, nor will the other issues we need to confront, including fixing prisons, improving accessibility for all Arizonans, lowering childcare costs, supporting veterans, protecting older and vulnerable Arizonans, and so much more. I spoke earlier in these remarks about Governor Mofford and how she challenged lawmakers to choose action to solve the challenges of their time. Perhaps nothing in her speech did more to drive home the urgency of the time than these words she shared in the conclusion. We cannot delay. Opportunities fade, Arizona's future hangs in the balance. I say to you, join with me in making these difficult decisions, and together we will journey towards the next frontier. They did just that, and together they put Arizona on a path to prosperity and improved the lives of millions of families. It is my sincere hope that we can do the same in this moment more than 30 years later. We all hold a deep love for this state. We are here because we want to ensure the generations that follow us have a chance to discover that love too. Thank you for your partnership in finding real solutions and for the contributions we will all make going forward as we build an Arizona for everyone. Now, let's get to work. Thank you. I think we're going to do some questions. Eric is walking around with a microphone, maybe? Yes?
Yes, thank you, Governor.
Yeah.
Good morning, Governor. I want to thank you for taking time to be with us today. I'm Jack Sellers, Maricopa County Supervisor and Chair of the Maricopa Association of Governments Transportation Policy Committee. Now, I realize you are hearing from many people on many issues they see as priorities. So I'm not going to disappoint you. I'll add to the list.
Okay.
One of this region's top priorities will be the extension of Proposition
Yes.
400 in 2023. This local investment in infrastructure that is the backbone of this state's economy will have positive impacts throughout Arizona. We need not only to fund major freeway projects to keep up with the $60 billion investment in the microchip arena, but we need to invest in transit that will help people stay employed, meet our environmental requirements, and create more opportunities for workforce housing. The delay in securing this funding mechanism is costing this region millions of dollars. We cannot leverage the extension dollars until they are approved by our voters. So my question is, will you work with the business and local government leaders throughout Maricopa County and help us get the Prop 400 extension on a ballot as quickly as possible?
Yes, absolutely. I know that so much work was done to get this bill over the finish line in 2022, and many of us were surprised to see it vetoed. I can assure everyone in this room that you have a partner in my office to make sure that we are doing it again, getting across the finish line, so that we can continue this important funding vehicle for the region. And it's not just important for the region, it's important for the entire state. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. We have
I'm
another.
sorry we took your transportation director, Jack, but not really sorry. She's going to do great things for our state.
Good morning, Governor. Thanks for being here with us today. I'm Brian Lee with the CEO of Landings Credit Union out of Tempe. I talked to a lot of small business owners that are still struggling with filling vacant positions. Mm-hmm. So in your opinion, what can the state do to be able to help workforce development in the state?
Well, I think we need to invest in those higher education or post-secondary education opportunities like community college, career and technical education. We also need to address the affordability issues that are keeping folks out of the workforce, housing, childcare. So you'll see plans from us to do those things, and we want to work in partnership with the business community to continue to keep our finger on the pulse of what's causing these problems and how we can work together to address them.
Welcome, Governor, to Mesa, Arizona. Mark Freeman, one of the council members here in Mesa, and our table welcomes you. Appreciate you being here. My question revolves around water. Water is an important component, economic driver for our communities, all in the East Valley. So your office and your administration, what can you do to continue to ensure water will be available for our East Valley communities? I know you look at it statewide, which I appreciate, but then for the East Valley, what are your vision? Thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that question because there is no one-size-fits-all solution, and every community is facing different issues when it comes to water. So I think a few things I mentioned, being really transparent about the issues we're facing, making sure we know exactly what the problem is that we're confronting, and then bringing together the Water Policy Council I mentioned to address the groundwater management issues, and then focus on how we can bring innovative conservation and augmentation projects to bear to provide more immediate solutions. I know a lot of the previous administration's focus was on this desalination plant in Mexico, which is not in Arizona. It's going to take years and years to get off the ground. It's going to cost a lot of money. That will increase the cost of water. We need more immediate solutions here and now, and so we're going to bring the stakeholders together to get those done.
Good morning, Governor.
Hi.
My name is Christine Ellis, and I'm a council member for the city of Chandler. I'm so thankful that you're here today and have started to address the idea of our borders and the immigration issues. I am an immigrant. I'm originally from Haiti. And as you can tell, I'm passionate about that. The last few years, we have seen an increase of Haitians leaving Haiti because of all the things that are happening right now in that country. And Washington seems to think that by sending out a fish, things can start getting better. But I have seen Yuma. I have seen the increase of our borders to the south of us, and the human trafficking, and the family members that are walking all the way from Brazil to Mexico to try to get through here. What is it that you're thinking of doing? I know you just mentioned something, but I want to hear truly from your heart as a social worker,
Yes.
and from my heart as a nurse this morning. What is it that you're going to do for those families that are being turned back, that are also losing their lives and their children and their livelihood at that border? And then they're being trafficked, they're being raped. Everything is happening to them right there. And it's not only Haitians, it's all of them. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, we have a crisis at our borders, and we need the federal government to take serious action. As I mentioned, I'm encouraged by recent actions from the White House, but I will continue as governor of Arizona to advocate for the needs of our communities, even if that puts me at odds with the White House. We need real border security. We need real humanitarian relief for the folks who are trying to come here, seeking asylum, and being turned away. And part of that is due to the lack of personnel to process these folks. So we need more resources there. And ultimately, this will be addressed if we can implement comprehensive immigration reform. That, as you well know, takes an act of Congress. Congress has failed again and again and again. We have 2 senators that are working diligently on these solutions, and I'm hopeful that we will get something across the finish line. I will work with them. I will work with anyone to implement the solutions that work best for Arizona and our communities and the people here. And I assure you I'm ready to work. Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, Governor. Kathy Tilke with the town of Gilbert. I'm a council member there. And after 30 years in the Chamber of Commerce business, I feel I'm obligated to ask a business question.
Okay.
But you mentioned water and the importance of that, short-term solutions. I was curious if you were planning on bringing economic development specialists into those conversations, because our future workforce and our sustainability will be based on a successful business.
Absolutely. We need all the stakeholders at the table, and our job creators and economic drivers are clearly a stakeholder here. We have had unparalleled growth in the last several years in our state, and we want to continue that. We want to continue what's working. And we have a housing crisis, and we have a water crisis. And when you talk about all those things, continued growth, building more housing to address the needs, and the fact that we are running out of water, how do you balance all those things? We need all the stakeholders at the table to come up with the right solutions.
Thank you, Governor. We have time for one more question.
Governor, thank you for being here today. Excuse me. My name is Otto Schill. I'm with the Jennings, Strauss & Salmon Law Firm and a member of the Mesa Chamber Board. In the last legislative session, there was a bill proposed to introduce state-level zoning controls to address some of the housing issues, and that turned into a study committee, and the study committee has issued its report. I'm wondering what your thoughts are about balancing local controls, which are obviously important to communities, with state rules in light of the housing issues.
Yeah, I think, so in my time in the legislature, in my 8 years, I probably have 8 champion of League of Cities and Towns plaques hanging in my office. So proud of my support of local control, and I think that's really important when we talk about solutions to the issues we're facing, including housing. Again, there is not a one-size-fits-all solution, and I know each community has their plans in place, and I don't think the state should come in and disrupt those. We need to be a better partner with our local communities in how you can increase the housing supply and address the needs in your communities. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to be here with you this morning. Thanks.
Thank you, Governor Hobbs. Thank you for being here this morning with us here in the East Valley, and we are grateful that you are here to continue this great tradition that we do here in the East Valley with the Governor. My name is Jimmy Lindblom. I serve as chairman of the board in behalf of the Phoenix East Valley Partnership, a coalition of regional leaders that work to improve the business climate here in the East Valley. On behalf of the East Valley Partnership, we want to thank the and I'll make sure I get this right, the East Valley Chamber of Commerce Alliance for our great relationship with them and how we work to improve building upon our common interests, the East Valley. It's wonderful, this room and the power that sits within it and what we can accomplish. We want to thank again the Governor for being here and for all of our sponsors that have made this possible. This is the 21st annual breakfast, and we wish each of you a prosperous 2023, and thank you for attending today. Have a great day, everybody.